Mm, the Strength card. Welcome to Weaving the Magic. This is Kelly Fox, and I am really sinking into the energy of the Strength card today. So, in this video, I'll be exploring the symbolism, the relations to astrology, the numerology, and everything else I can think of to weave the magic through this card. Because if not this card, I don't know what else is magic. The Strength card basically, in essence, represents to me the real power in love, in softness, in compassion, in heart based, heart centered living, in heart based decision making. Strength represents the ability to tame the animal instinct portion of self. It it also speaks towards caring for that animal part of you, not rejecting it, not um, casting it out as other, but making it a part of you. The Strength card is debatably either number 8 or number 11, depending on what artwork, what deck you're working with. And I'll explain to you why I see them as both. Either way, the Strength card is the part in the journey where the level of self mastery, um, the level of self mastery is revisited and either mastered or repeated. And this is why I love both numbers, 11 and 8, for this, because 11, here's an 11, here's an 11, here's an 11. Half of these are 11 and half of these are 8. The 11 is, in numerology, the first master number. It's the number of self mastery. It's the number of seeing self. It's a number of seeing yourself as one with the universe. So it's also the number of seeing yourself within everything else. This is how we master ourselves. We find ourselves in everything and we integrate, we harmonize, we don't reject, we don't cast out, we bring in, we tame, but not really. We appreciate. We tame its outer power. We tame the outside power, the power that's outside of us, by cultivating the strength to be soft, to be accepting, to be tolerant, to be compassionate. This is what true strength is. So that really is the self mastery journey that is represented in the number 11. Now, if you are not walking the self mastery journey, or if you keep stumbling at something, you might see strength reversed in your deck, or you might see it with the 8, where it's in, and it's always, not always, but often represented in the symbolism here, anyways, the lemniscate, the infinite 8, because you'll just loop back around and find a way. The universe will find a way to try to bring this lesson through you again. It'll come up again. If you're on a self mastery journey, this is something that you will come to learn, that you will come to integrate. That love, that courage is vulnerable. Vulnerability is a big key here, a big, big key in this. But to wrap up that numerology piece again, the 8 is like a repeated lesson. And that also harkens to the feminine, which I'm going to go into now, being that vulnerability is part of this strength. It's a huge representative of this strength. So, this is one of my favorite artworks. This is the Cosmic Tarot. Um, and this veil, I'm sorry, I'm pausing for a minute. I think my son is waking up. Yes. Okay, very long pause on my end there. Um, and I won't apologize for the lack of editing in the video. Life is short and I want to offer this information. But I have children that I love. So moving on. I believe that I had left off starting to lead into the vulnerability aspect of the strength card. And I really want to focus a lot on this card. This is from the Cosmic Tarot. Um, Man, I love this. And this really says everything for me. The fact that she's naked, she is one central theme that shows up where this is a feminine quality. And I don't mean this as a female quality. I don't mean this as anything other than the fact that we live in a universe in this plane, in this dimension, on this reality, on this earth, where duality exists. It exists for the larger purpose of the experiment, the experience that we're all having. And duality is just a way of discerning your way along your path. So there are masculine and feminine energies as exists in duality. That's not all that exists, but this card, the strength card, really speaks to the quality that's generally associated with a feminine, a gentleness, of compassion, of the willingness to put pride aside, because the strength card is anything but prideful. There's no arrogance, there's unity. I love that this card, this is from the William Blake Tarot. This card labels the strength card as energy, and it's unity with all of these animals. The animals are another figure that it's a feminine energy to be soft, receptive, reciprocal, gentle with other conscious sentient beings. They understand the softness of harmonizing, and that's um, it's a it's a more of a feminine quality, a feminine function. And I'm checking myself as I say that because Libra is a masculine astrology sign. Either way, I digress. It's too far out there. This strength card definitely speaks towards the feminine qualities of softness, also of innocence, of purity, of nakedness, of vulnerability. It is reminiscent of birth, where it's the strongest thing that a human being can do to give their body over to the process of transformation. And the trick of it is coming from a mother of two natural childbirths, one of one of which was easier than the other when I surrendered my body to it. Um, I was stronger. I was stronger when I allowed myself to be assisted, when I didn't resist, when I didn't try to push, when I didn't try to do all of it, when I didn't try to effort. It's very much the strength that's found in softening and softening the ego, softening the pride, because anyone that knows anything about animals, especially animals that live in packs, there's an alpha and there's a dominance situation that needs to be handled and sometimes checked over and over again. And alphas don't bow to anyone other than another alpha. And the only thing more dominant than a masculine alpha is love in general. I mean, love encompasses everything, it is part of everything, and it animates all things. And compassionate love that considers maybe the weakness of other people, especially the cruelty, the injustice, the assumptions of other people, the neglects of other people, the issues with other people, or things outside of ourselves that make it challenging to remain in our vulnerable, sensitive, beautiful, soft hearts. The strength card reminds us to fortify. It helps us to fortify. I love this card here. This is from the Field Tarot, how the ocean is in the background and her eyes are closed, because it reminds us that nature has something to teach us, that the natural world can remind you and bring you the strength to remind you of cycles that help you overcome these mountains, that help you overcome the very real or just perceived threats. I'm trying to get that shimmer to happen. There we go, of all these swords in the background. and she's like protecting this snake from the arrows. It's the strength to be kind, it's the strength to be gentle, it's the strength to leave your heart open in a world that it's easy to perceive a threat from. And I'll come back to this card now because her standing naked with only this facade of this lion, like the lion is on this cloth that she's got up. And it speaks very much to how oftentimes, and I know for me, it's been personally true on my journey, it's necessary for a very sensitive person to have to harden in their life journey in order to learn how to place boundaries and protect them. But it's like we play this game of hardness, we play this game of it. And it's okay to like let down the veil. It's okay to be our naked, true, authentic, vulnerable selves who are led by our intuition. Um, there's another theme at play here, play being the key word, especially called out in this card, where strength represents Leo in the zodiac. And this orange cat playing with the ball of yarn here is like the softness to allow play, to allow gentleness, to allow the intuition, to allow the fairy tale and the whimsy um, to guide us. That's another core theme of the strength card. It's doing the hard thing. And in this society, in the long standing society, patriarchal societies, it's the pressed upon thing to do the action, fix the problem, correct the thing, right the wrong, um, ease the burden, do the whatever it is, function in a way that fixes, that corrects, that changes or exerts energy. Whereas the strength card really talks about take a rest, relax, remember yourself as a part of the energy. Listen to what everything else is saying that's going on, namely your own heart, your own peace, your own gentleness. Like these figures aren't in action, save for this one. And this one is even like blended energy, become one with, melt into the heart of. Like, know that that power is in you. Know that the power of your loving, focused intention, your compassionate understanding, your willingness to see what's just and true, which brings in that numbers thing again, because this card is often switched position with the justice card in any given deck. One is 8 and one is 11. And that says something because true justice is served when we are making decisions from our heart, honestly. Um, what else do I want to say about this? There's so much other symbolism, always in all of the different artwork across the decks. Um, but I really wanted to drive home the representative. Also, I do want to touch on that, even though it's a different animal in all of these animals represent a part of our nature um, that could be both, either the inner child and or shadow aspects that are yet to be integrated. Because with Leo being represented, there's a child aspect of like play and freedom and liberty and carefree, and uh, kids don't have a second thought about being vulnerable. They say what's on their heart until they learn not to, until they learn they have to protect themselves and harden. And most of these animals are protective type of animals, the lion, the bear. And then these ones are like transformational, magical, intuitive energies. And then this one's got everything from freedom and transformation, protection, steadfastness, like showmanship, show offness, higher perspective, wisdom, all sorts of things going on in there, and being a part of that circle of life. Um, so the symbolism of the animal and of how they're partnered, there isn't a hierarchy, even when they are like dominating. Oh, I just realized I don't have the original, well, not the original, but I don't have the Pamela Coleman um, artwork out. But anyways, there's not a force being had here. There's always a gentleness. with this. There's not a power and control dynamic, there's an equal acceptance. There's even a protection of anything that's a weaker energy. Um, Everything is in harmony, everything is in balance, and it's easy. This is part of the self mastery journey. It's like learning how to find the strength within yourself to see all the way down to the root innocence or vulnerability of someone, a situation, yourself, your shadow. Um, what is needed? Where is the love depleted? Do you have the strength to ask the questions to figure out what needs to be loved? What needs to be held softly and strongly? Do you have the strength to do that for yourself or another? And again, I know that's part of the self mastery journey. That's why both of those numbers, the 11, the 8, this is something that we do over and over again. A way that we meet ourselves. So, one last thing, and I'm glad that this kind of happened, but my little guy bumped his head. He's with his dad upstairs, but bumped his head. And part of the strength card also is the vulnerability of being able to ask for help, being able to ask for softness. It is so strong of a human quality to develop as an adult, to be able to ask for help, to be able to put down the facade, not try to be bigger than, but to come cleanly, nakedly, and openly to the rest of your fellow consciousness incarnate, humbly, powerfully, and to be able to say, me and all my vulnerable self, I have so much to offer and I have so much to ask, and all of that is okay. I can be at peace with all of that. That's a very vital to life quality to develop on this human journey, if you're asking me. And maybe you are, and maybe you aren't. Either way, I'll sign off by saying that if more of the world were able to embody the wisdom of this strength card, we would see a more peaceful, loving, harmonious, gentle world. And I wish for that deeply. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have anything to share, thoughts, suggestions, anything like that, I welcome that in the comments. I appreciate your feedback, your likes and subscriptions. And I'm going to keep this series going with another video on whatever archetype I feel drawn to next. Thank you.